Today we're going to do a warm-up that is going to be on the last of that sheet on the front. We're going to cover problem numbers 25 through 28, so we're going to finish off the front of that worksheet. This first problem is a great one for the EOC because every once in a while they'll ask one of these questions, and I'm guessing the first thing that most people are going to do when they see this problem is they're going to set up the part plus part equals a whole and try to solve that problem and solve the equation. It's actually already set up for you. The only problem is they don't ask you about that. What they're asking you for is just what property justifies that step. Guys, what lets you set it up as this equation? What's that part plus a part actually called? Out of these three. Yeah, that's the segment addition postulate. That's all you needed to do. There's no work for that. There's nothing to deal with that. It's just going to be the segment addition postulate, and that is your answer. You need to know that part plus a part equals a whole is the segment addition postulate. Okay, so if you want to write that beside it, part plus part equals whole. So you can make that connection, have that, muscle memory so that you remember that, please feel free to do so. Okay guys, let's go back and work the problems that we actually have some work to do. So first one is going to be the volume of a cone. We've talked about this. This formula is not something we are going to cover, but we've gone over it now on 3 worksheets. The third one we've seen it on. This formula is going to be the same as a cone, so it's going to be pi r squared times h. Pi r squared times h. But then because it comes to a point, and guys, anything that comes to a point you're going to do this with, pyramids, put this in front, it's going to have 1/3 in front of it. 1/3 is going to be in front of it because it comes to a point. So it's going to be 1/3 times 3.14 because it tells me to use 3.14 for pi. That's very nicely done, Kinsey. It's going to be 3.14 for pi times the radius in this case is going to be 2 squared times the height. No, we'll go back. Now times the height, which is going to be 6.
Yeah.
You're fine. It got twisted. The little things get caught. There we go. You got it. Okay, multiply that on your calculator, guys. 1 fraction by 3.
I got 25.
Oh, and look, that's one of our answers. Did y'all get that same thing? Okay, perfect. 25.12 goes right here. Does anybody have any questions about typing that? Any issues, concerns, anything about it? We're good on that one? Wonderful. The next one, what does it say? I haven't read this one. A roller is made by taking a cylinder of radius 3 inches and a height 8 inches and removing the cylinder with radius. Okay, guys, it's volume of a cylinder minus a volume of a cylinder. And it says the roller is shown on its side in the figure. What is the volume of the roller? So we're going to do the volume formula, which we just talked about the formula over here. It's just that without the 1/3 in front of it. So it's going to be pi r squared h for the big one. And then we're going to subtract the inside, which is still a cylinder, so it's going to be pi r squared h. Yep. Okay. They just did the math and told me that several people... You see something?
Yep, it's the same. I keep doing 1/2
instead of 1/3. Actually, a lot of people do that. That's why it's a detractor. That's why it's always in the answer. So that's a good thing to notice before you get to the EOC. Anything that comes to a point, you're going to put that 1/3 in front. Thank you for stopping and asking the question, though. Okay, guys, here we go. Pi, first of all, do you see they're in terms of pi? Look at your answers before you start doing things. Don't plug in 3.14 if their answers have a pi in them. So it's going to be pi times the radius. What is the radius of the larger one that's here? Read the directions and see what the radius of the larger one. 3. Okay, so 3 squared. And what is the height of the whole thing? 8. And then it's going to be minus pi times what's the radius of the smaller one? 2 squared times 8. So guys, your math that you're going to do is just this part right. Oh, it's too big. Hold on. Your math is going to be just this part right here that you're going to do. So it's going to be 3 squared times 8. What's that give you? 72 pi minus what's 2 squared times 8? 32 pi. And when you subtract 72 minus 32, that's going to give you 40 pi, which is going to be B. There we go. Guys, you can do these formulas. You can. I'm telling you, we've got the second formula sheet, which is mostly the formulas. That would be a really good thing for you to take seriously. Writing it several times, doing what you need to get those down. Okay, last one is pretty easy, guys. We did this a lot. Let's take a look at this. We've got in here, first of all, this side that's shared by both of them is congruent to itself by what property? What's that called when something is congruent to itself? Because that's going to be on the EOC, I guarantee you. Reflexive property. The reflexive property, like looking in the mirror. The reflexive property, not reflective, we talked about that. Reflexive property is going to tell you that side's congruent to itself. And then we've got this side marked congruent to this one. Guys, do we have any angles marked?
No.
No. Can we do anything just with two sides?
No.
No. So the answer is that it's not possible. And look, it even says the object appears to be a rectangle, looks like one, but there is nothing marked saying that the sides are parallel, the angles are congruent, nothing. So you cannot assume that. All we have is two sides. Okay, guys, that's your warm-up for today. Go ahead and take that, put that in your warm-up section.